YouTube says I am live. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Let's see if I can get my light turned up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Not so much in the dark. How are we looking? Awesome. Welcome. Welcome to Tuesday night live. Raw. Yeah, Tuesday night. Tuesday raw. Tuesday raw. It is 2023. How exciting. I'm Dr. Andi. For those of you that are new, I'm a certified animal chiropractor. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. None of what we talk about here is meant for or designed to be veterinary advice or care. I've been in clinical practice for 20 years. And so I've learned a lot from my clients. I have done a lot with my animals. A lot of this is just what has worked for me or a client. And it's just meant to supplement your learning and you going out and investigating and you going out and educating yourself on your animals. Happy New Year to you too, Kyle. And thank you so much for my Christmas card. That was very sweet of you guys. It was very sweet. And I got to see the beagles, which is awesome. All right, so Tuesday Night Raw Q&A. It's where we ask our questions. Maybe I have some answers, maybe I don't. Sometimes I have to go off and find the answer and come back. And we just we're building community or answering questions. But Tuesday Night Raw, as in raw feeding your dogs, mainly dogs. Sometimes kitties come up, but feeding a species appropriate diet and all the impacts that it has on the health and wellness of our animals. So any questions? Who wants to start this off? Any fun stories over the holidays? Did everyone make it through? Who got stranded by Southwest? I had many clients that happened to. I stayed here in Colorado. I saw the fam that's here. Our holidays are always easy peasy. Okay, so Kyle asked if I can talk more about tail stress and things a pet parent can do as far as massages. And a good supplement. So send over the supplement and we'll take a look at it, Amber. Tail stress. So a lot of this is what I noticed over my 20 years in clinical practice. And Kyle, I think you picked this up because we talked about this on the podcast, me and Dee Dee on the Raw Dog Food Truth podcast on Monday, right? And Dee Dee asked me about stress in general, and then somehow we got into tails. And what I have noticed over the years, everything, I'm palpating, I'm doing my thing, my chiropractic thing, muscle testing, palpating, seeing how the animal reacts, what's sore, what's not sore, blah, blah, blah. And everything would be, A-okay or a little sore here. But some animals, I get to the base of the tail and they're just like, whoo, and base of the tail is the part that's connected to the body. The tip of the tail is the tip of the tail, but the base of the tail. So we talked about the lumbar spine. They have 7 vertebrae. We have 5. So their lumbar spine has 2 extra vertebrae. And the actual spinal cord, the tube, actually ends about L2-3. And then there's filaments that continue down through the rest of the vertebrae, through the sacrum, through coccyx bones, which are the tail bones. And we have coccyx bones too. We have Actually, I don't even remember how many coccyx bones we have. 3 to 5. We don't have a tip. We have, actually we have sacral bones, and then, it gets a little hairy at the end. Do we have a coccyx bones or not? But dogs have coccyx bones, those tail bones. And the filaments will go down as far as they go through the tail, and every dog is going to be different. But what I noticed is that's where the dogs seem to kind of hide, put away, don't want to deal with their emotions or the emotions that are projected onto them. Okay. It's kind of splitting hairs, but animals generally don't have emotions. They have feelings about things, right? I don't like this. I like this. This is fun. This is not fun. But they don't generally sit there and, well, like I said, it's kind of like splitting hairs. It's really, are they sitting over there being sad because maybe one of their pack passed away? Maybe they are, or are we projecting that sadness onto them? It gets a little fuzzy. It's a little bit of splitting hairs. But when we project, let's say the very senior dog in your pack passed away and the dog that's still there, they've been together 10 years. We as people are sad. We assume the other animal is going to be very sad and they're missing them, and you're projecting all of this onto them. And, some animals may actually just move all that energy, everything is energy, of sadness, and just stick it in their tail because they don't want to deal with it. But I also talked about how the tail means so much, right? It means so much. Like, is it up? Is it down? Is it wagging? Is it straight? Is it tucked under? Like, we have all of these meanings, all of these emotions, all of these feelings attached to dogs' tails. And what do they do with all that energy that's being projected at them? So this is it's my world. I don't consider it woo-woo, but I kind of lighten the blow of this weird stuff as this is being more woo-woo. But everything is energy, and dogs speak the language of energy, which I think I mentioned on the podcast too. And that is their language, right? Didi talked about a study that, they can smell these stressors in the human when blah, blah, blah happens. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that does happen. That's a very scientific way of looking at it. But I think our energy relationship with our animals is much more dynamic than that, much faster than that. I think the study actually discredits how much the animals are in tune with our energy. And that's part of what I think people could look at more and shift and change with their animals, is what is their energy doing? And when your energy is doing something, what is your animal doing? Right? Very simple example I give people is, as soon as you realize you are going to be 10 minutes for an appointment and you need to get your animal in the car, that's when they don't want to get in the car. That's when they run over there. That's when they pick up a toy. That's when they go cower in the back corner of the house, right? Like, as soon as you go into that panic, that, oh, we got to get going mode, they do something and they react to that energy. And getting them in the car just became that much more difficult, right? You're in a rush to get there. Of course, you hit every red light. That's all where we project our energy. And so sometimes when I get to the base of the tail, it's painful and they don't want me to touch it. Did they hurt it? Maybe not. That's maybe just some stuck energy, stuck emotion, stuck stuff that they just don't want to deal with. So they just shove it in their tail. We all have our areas, right? How many pet parents are like, oh, I put all my stress right here. This is really painful because my boss was chewing on my butt today, or whatever, right? We have those areas in our body too. And so I adjust it. I actually look for either an interosseous fault, a subluxation, a fixation, an imbrication. And those are all different types of adjustments that I utilize in my practice. And we adjust it. And that impulse into the body, that impulse into the nervous system will sometimes release it, release the energy, release the emotion, release the pain that's associated with it. How, why, I don't know. It just does. For years and years and years, I've had dogs come in that were recently rescued. Just kind of, you can almost tell they're not really in their body. The more woo-woo stuff, right? Just kind of down, just kind of what we would project on them as depressed. We do an adjustment. I find this, all those things I just listed, subluxations, imbrications, fixations, all those things. We ask the body what it wants to do. We fix it, and they have a brand new dog in about 3 days. They may crash and burn for a day, meaning they're not moving so much. They're just kind of zoned out, just kind of processing. I call it processing. They process their adjustments for about 24 hours, sometimes a little longer, depending on how much emotions we release. And if there's a big story or there was, they spent a lot of time in rescue, sometimes they need to process a lot more. But sometimes we get it. And did I find any pain per se? No, not always, sometimes. But sometimes we just allow the body to release that. And so the same thing, pet parents can touch on all of this with massage, right? We can impact the body with adjustments, with massage, right? So the way I explain it is, if we do the adjustment, I may be contacting a bony process, part of a bone, impact the nervous system. That nervous system then fires back into the muscles. Or you can do massage, work on the muscles, and then there's not as much feedback, not as much change back into the nervous system as the other way around. But there's plenty. There is plenty. And my point of view is animals hold a lot of emotion, stress, tension, projection of us in their muscles, which then can lead to subluxations, or the subluxations are the weak part in the body, and that's where all the emotions and energy is set. So it's kind of, you can go by it both ways. There's no wrong way to do that. And sometimes it depends on the animal. Sometimes it depends on the comfort level of a pet parent. A lot of pet parents are not that comfortable with chiropractic. They're much more comfortable with massage. Okay, start there. Nothing wrong with that. Much more comfortable going with acupuncture first. Awesome. Which one's going to work better? You don't know till you try, because every body is different. You just don't know. I mean, I've had dogs in here that were going to rip my hand off, take me out. This is the worst thing ever. Went off and did acupuncture. Loved it. That was awesome. I'm like, then do more of that, please. They've been in acupuncture 12 visits. They're still painful. It's still not working. Come in an adjustment. Makes 80% improvement. I don't know why. There was nothing wrong with that acupuncturist and the acupuncture they were doing, but this body happened to like this better. Some dogs are so reactive with the adjustments that massage is much more comforting to them. It works better. Generally, if I have a dog like that, it's massage, 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 and occasional adjustment. Massage, 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 occasional adjustment. I do think if your animal can handle it, adding it all in when appropriate is awesome. Amber, I'm so sorry. I sent it twice, but I don't see the ingredients. Hang on. Let me see if I can live chat. Here we go. Sometimes it puts me on top chat, and I don't even know what that is. Let me get the live chat and see if they come through there. Can you just give me the name, Amber? Maybe I'll be somewhat familiar, or I can pull it up on my end and we can take a look at it. That'd be great. Did that cover everything, Kyle? Any other questions pop as I was talking? Happy New Year, Jessica. She says, my girl beagle June sometimes barks very loud and aggressive only when meeting certain dogs for the first time. Is there any advice for us? I'm kind of flippant. I love the questions. Great question. I'm kind of flippant. Like, I don't like everybody either. And I think back to the energy conversation that we're having, I think dogs pick up on a lot more energy than we are ever aware of, and they do it so damn fast. And I do think there are dogs that they instantly just don't care for, or there's an energy of that dog where that kind of behavior is, let me lay down the law right now. I ain't putting up with your crap. And so I'm going to yell at you. And it is problematic for the people, right? If it's only sometimes, right? How do you change a behavior if it's only 75% of the time? When can you predict it? When can you, and you could just turn it into a game of sorts, for you and for her. Do we like this dog today? No? Okay. And you might, how about that one? Yeah, I don't know if I like her either. Like, turn it into a fun conversation and a game, which will lighten your energy about it. Because as soon as you start worrying, that dog, and this is that part of that energy thing that is so hard for us people. And I think a lot of dog behaviorists address it, but it's very hard, right? Like, and a lot of times it's on a walk. I don't know they're just meeting. So I don't know if that's at a dog park or on a leash, and the leash changes everything. And that leash is generally connected to you, right? So what is your energy doing? But let's say her head's down, she's sniffing the grass, she's just moseying along, having a good time, and you see the dog coming up the street, right? What does your energy do? Let's just simply go, you instantly tense. She knows it. She may not look up. She most likely would. She's going to look up. Maybe she sees the dog right away. Maybe not. Like, it is so subtle, and they are so good at picking it up, especially on a leash, that it's really hard to shift your energy out of it. And it almost becomes harder the more you contract and worry about it. Like, okay, I need to change my energy. I can't react to the dog that's coming down the street. Oh my God, that's almost worse. So if you just turn it into a fun game of, well, do you like this dog today? I don't know if I like that dog. I don't really like that dog's owner anyway. So you know what? But and it may or may not be necessarily true, but have a more fun, more expansive, back to that energy, right? Way of dealing with it. And you two come up with how that's going to look. I don't know. Kind of run with what I said and see what you come up with. How much do you dislike that dog? Is it on a scale of 1 to 10? It's a 7 today. All right, maybe we'll go this way, And sometimes reverse psychology works. I don't think those are the proper words for what exactly happens in a dog's head, but I'll have a dog screaming on the table. I do an adjustment. That hurts. Do an adjustment. That hurts. I go, okay, we're going to do it again. How loud can you scream? And I'll do it. And they usually don't make a noise. So it's just fun. Play with it. Play. What do our animals love to do the most? Play. What do people do the least of? Play. Why do you think we love them in our lives so much, and yet we try to utterly control them and contract them and put them in boxes on how they're supposed to be? How much more fun can you have? How silly can you be when she barks at the other dogs? Mix it up. See what kind of works. And that's from I ain't a dog trainer. I ain't a behaviorist. That's just how I have played with and manipulated energy with my animals and all these animals I've seen over the years. And sometimes it takes a few times of trying different things to figure it out, which is also true for your food, which is also true for your supplements, which is also true. That holy grail does not exist, right? Or the Hobbit, that one ring will save us all, whatever that is. I'm not a Hobbit fan, but it does not exist. That holy grail of this one thing's going to be the magical cure forever and ever does not exist, folks. It's a journey. It changes. It shifts. Every animal's different. You're different. And you got to play. If you just add a lot more play into it, you might see a lot more things, and you might just have a lot more fun with your animals. Judy Jasek gave us CBD, which doesn't seem to be helping in that respect. But I will continue to give it to them for other reasons. Yeah. And, maybe it is doing more than you thought it was. Big fan of CBD. It loves the nervous system. It loves the brain. It loves homeostasis in the body and in the organs. Yeah, I would continue to give it to them for other reasons. And maybe you do that low dose every day. But if you know you're going into a situation where there'll be a lot of dogs, give her more. And in this household, the people have their own bottle and they dose themselves up. Same thing for flower essences. Oh my, and people come in, I didn't give them enough Rescue Remedy today. From what I understand, I'm not very good at flower essence. I kind of get the gist of them. You look them up in books and they're fascinating. But Rescue Remedy is kind of like the most popular one. And my understanding is you need to give it every day and then give a big dose when you're going into a situation. I tell people, if you're going to buy that, buy yourself a bottle, and you're also going to do Rescue Remedy because we're going to match these energies. And that may allow you to modulate your energy, and that may be what's missing. So very energetic talks today. It's very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Oh my gosh. There's a whole bunch that YouTube was hiding. Okay. I don't want to learn more about that. Okay. So equine. Okay. I got the name finally, Amber. Hang on. Let me see. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. We're gonna get back to you, Amber. Hold on. I won't forget, but I love this. And I didn't ask this question, right? And if you got my email today, it was all about what questions do I need to ask here to get the information? And I should have asked this question. It was a great question. Jessica says she was thinking that, but this behavior started right after a couple years ago. She was kind of attacked by another dog. So the energy of that event is locked in. And if you were present for it, it locked in you. You could give it a very technical term called PTSD, or you can just say, we went through this event and you and her may not have let go of all of it yet. Okay. And so how can you let go of that? Do you have tools for that? Do you meditate on that? Can you also play with, my PTSD is coming up? And give it up to Jesus. I don't need this anymore. Whatever, there's a bunch of tools out there and I don't know where you land with all of that. But how can you let go of that energy? And if you let go of it, it'll make it much easier for her. My favorite story is actually my own dogs. And I don't know how much I've talked about this, but I have a Doberman and I have my substandard poodle. He's supposed to be standard, but he's only 32 pounds. The Doberman's 80 pounds. Okay. I got them a month apart. They're 8 days apart in age. And they started fighting at 15 months old. Like full on, Doberman is going to kill the poodle. The poodle is in it pound for pound, will not back down. If you know anything about poodles, is pretty typical. And talk about PTSD. Ooh, all that energy comes up. My entire body locks up. And they would only pull this shit when my husband wasn't around. Jerks. And I have a rule. I have gates. I sequester animals, but I will not live in a divided house. That's just one of my rules. I'm not going to live in a divided house because this dog can't get along with this dog. And so we were waiting to 18 months to get them neutered. That was a long few months, but that was important to me too. And knowing that may not fix the problem, It did help tremendously. We still have spats in the house. But my way of putting gates up was I cage muzzle trained my Doberman. He wears a cage muzzle. He can drink. He's even eaten out a spoke so he can carry around a bone. He can't chew on the bone, but he's a goofball. But he was in that cage muzzle. And so when he has the cage muzzle on, I know, well, at the time he wouldn't start a fight. That has since changed now that he's 7, but I know he can't hurt the other animals. What does that do to my energy? I don't worry about it. It drops it down, right? Like, and that changed everything. We're having a few more issues now that he's 7. We have some weird like sundowning. He's a little quirky anyway. We're actually using CBD, and he's wearing his cage muzzle a lot. And everyone's, oh, that's so mean. It was that, or find him a new home, or have a lot more stress, or have them separate. That created the most ease in my world, and he doesn't really mind it. He's that dog. I got lucky with that part of it. Some dogs are not going to handle that. So it depends on what you have in front of you. Walk and dog store at home, doggy daycare. Mm-hmm. Okay. Happy New Year, Keisha. Happy New Year, Emma's education. I know that's Ashley. Okay. I think I caught up with that. I have Amber's product. Okay. I'm going to try and put this in another tab so we can see what it is. Right? Okay. Hopefully you can still see me and I can do this. The hyaluronic acid, is that what the HA is? Let's see what we got in here. State line tack. Do they have their own website? I see it on Chewy. Okay, let me see if I can get to the ingredients on Chewy. Yeah. So she's asking about Lubracin HA, horse and pet joint supplement. So the HA usually stands for hyaluronic acid. I wish I could show you. Yeah. So active ingredients is hyaluronic acid. Inactive is water, glycerin, xanthan gum, citric acid, potassium sorbate. That looks all fine. I generally speaking, I really like hyaluronic acid. What was the cost? Let's see. And really, for hyaluronic acid, and depending on the product, if you have big dogs or a lot of dogs, the horse one is fine. It's just a bigger bottle, right? And it's usually better priced. So 32-ounce bottle at $88. Yeah. There you go. I'm still a big, I hope that helps. I'm still a big fan of rotate. So do a bottle of that, do a bottle of something else, change it up over here, and do something over here. I don't do a lot of glucosamine. Every once in a while, I have a client that'll give me a bottle of something and I'll rotate it through if the ingredients are decent enough. I can't tell you the last time I bought glucosamine. I know this is hyaluronic acid. This is different. I have used in the past the brand called Hyaflex. They have dog, cat, horse. It's really all the same stuff. That one was very popular. I don't know, about a decade ago. That still may be using it, but that one had supposedly a lot of science behind it. And the hyaluronic acid, if I remember correctly, the problem with it actually working in the joints is it has to be a small enough particle for the body to use it. And that was what was nice about the Hyaflex. I guess they suspended it, or they made it small enough that the body could use it. I don't know about this brand per se, but the ingredients are minimal. And so if there is any kind of reaction, it's going to be pretty easy to go, okay, maybe this doesn't agree with my dog. I don't see why it wouldn't, but every body is different. The sorbate, the gum, I mean, the glycerin, that's kind of just standard in liquids. But yeah, I can't tell you last time I actually bought glucosamine chondroitin. I think the biggest bang for your buck is feeding raw with the bone, and then adding in organ meat, chews, tracheas, and all that. And then, yeah, like I said, I rotate through bottles. Gut health is going to manage the inflammation and help those joints. And from what I understand with the glucosamine, there's actually no scientific papers on the people side of things that prove that it actually does anything. Take it with a grain of salt, these scientific studies and who does them and how long and blah, 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 blah. And the manipulation of data, I guess, is more atrocious than I ever thought it was. But play with it, rotate, do hyaluronic acid, do glucosamine, do a standard process, which is a whole food product. Like, just rotate. Oh, you're killing me, Kyle. I have not seen Kiss the Ground. By the time this is my excuse and justification. By the time I sit down to watch TV, I just want to watch mindless stuff. And I don't know if I want any more information. And yet I get it. Kiss the Ground. I need to watch it. I would like the information. I need the information. Yeah, we were talking about carbon footprints, and I'm going to bring that. I'm going to find that information for the next podcast. Just how much, how large, how incredibly insane pharmaceuticals carbon footprint is. It was. I have to find the information. I don't know where I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it and I'll bring it back, because carbon footprint of taking all those drugs, there's no reason to recycle. There's no reason to eat vegan. You need to get healthy. So we take less drugs, and that'll help the environment the most. And the chance of offending anybody here, if eating a plant-based diet was to work, I think we would be seeing less drug use. It's not really working. Yes. He's a show off as usual. I love it. It was great. Okay, Kiss the Ground. Write it down. Oh, and carbon footprint. Yes. Okay. Good. If you think of it, report back. If you like the product and if your animals did well on it, we would love to hear. Would love another tool in our toolbox. Something else we can rotate through. What else? And thank you, Ashley, for the look at that game for dogs. There you go. Some actual training stuff too. All right, the beagles are going to get adjusted again. So did you notice anything after the first adjustment? And if the answer is no, that's fine. I mean, that's a fine answer. I always ask my clients, are they better, worse, or the same? But did you notice more toy picking up, longer walks? Ruh-roh, I don't know if you heard that. Something crashed above my head. All my dogs are in the kitchen above me. I guess I'll find out later. Not too much, just that they were very tired, like you said. Okay, so nothing changed. I had a that's fine. And that, okay, she's like, oh boy, that was a thud. It was a thud. I don't know what went over. Oh, there was a box. Yeah, it might have been the box from Amazon. You know, all those gifts that we get all the time. Yeah, I had a little terrier come in today. It was his third visit. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I can show you this x-ray. I'll have to get it from mom. And this little terrier is named Jimmy. Super cute. He has this little mouse face. He was super cute. And, you know, she's like, please, he has a collar that says, please pet softly. He goes to work with her. And I get him on the table and we start without a muzzle. He soon has a muzzle on because he's very sore and very upset. But she shows me an x-ray of his rear end. And I don't even know if I can describe it, but he has most people would say he broke his hip, but he actually had a pelvic fracture. So the circle of the pelvis, one section of it was fractured, and the femur of the head was like here. Oh my God. It was the most amazing x-ray I've ever seen. Walking around, you could not tell. It was so cool. The x-ray was so cool. I have to get it from her. Maybe put it in one of my emails just so you can see it. The one thing I noticed with him walking around was his left leg was super straight and the right one was not. And so that's how the body balanced out the pelvis. It just made this leg much longer. And if you didn't know what you were looking at, you probably wouldn't even really have noticed. And we went to adjust Jimmy, and poor Jimmy was so sore. Holy moly. It went so soft. We only did half his butt end the first visit because I didn't want to, me and my global terms, I didn't want to fry him. I didn't want to do too much and make him feel horrible. And he came back for a second visit. We just did the front end. He was very sore and mad about that. And then today, we did everything. Ashley, we got everything done on Jimmy. Super soft, super easy. He got mad at me for rib cage and sternum today. Okay. But he does not show any of this with his petting, with his mom, with anything. And so it was just kind of amazing. And she's like, oh, I haven't really noticed anything. I'm like, okay. All right. I told her this most likely will be a case of you just kind of come in every 4 to 6 weeks. You're just here because we want him to keep moving. And I think we're going to have these little bit changes. And I'm like, in about 8 months, you're going to be like, I have a different dog, but it's going to happen so slowly. He might become even more outgoing. He doesn't lift his head up. He's always looking down. Like there's a lot of things, but this, I don't remember how long she's had him, but this happened. I think she got him at a year. So most likely hit by car before he was a year old. And now he's like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, something like that. So it's been there. And so we don't always see, but he was perfectly happy to come in and do everything. And so he's more on that case. Your guys are more like, we're not having any problems. We're just here because we're really good pet parents and we want to prevent something. And prevention is, and I congratulate and commend you guys because prevention is one of the hardest sells in anything, honestly, right? I mean, I guess we're pretty good about getting our oil changed on our cars and we're pretty good about going to the dentist. But preventative, I mean, even the definition of our sick care system of prevention is not accurate. And then us chiropractors, that's all we preach, right? Prevent, get in before there's a problem, prevent. And we are terrible at marketing it. I always said if the chiropractors would stop with all the infighting, and y'all don't see it, right? Not chiropractors, but there's a lot of this technique is better than this technique. And, I do it this way, which means this is better. Or, you have to do it this way to get the results because this is better. And like, there's just a lot of that infighting with chiropractic because talk about a bunch of individual rebels. It's chiropractors, and a lot of us are loony. But I always said if we got together like the dentists and put a campaign twice a year, go get adjusted, oh my God, the world would be different. Bodies would be different. Neurological systems would be different because we bought what the dentist had to sell us. We need to go in every 6 months to get our teeth looked at. Do we really? I don't know. That's just what they told me. That was what I bought as true. Is it true? Is it not true? I don't know. But we go in every 6 months, right? So I always say the chiropractor should get together and a bare minimum to go in every 6 months. We'd probably have a different sick care system, healthcare system, whatever term you want to use for that. Just my interesting point of view. Take it or leave it. For the animals, really the same thing. The beagles are going in for preventative care. They might do these 2 adjustments, which is kind of what I do. The first 2 are close together. And then, you know what? I tell everybody every quarter, every season change, something to jog their mind that they need to go in. Emma's education. I'd much rather go to the chiropractor every 6 months than the dentist. No kidding. I mean, people go to the dentist and nobody likes the dentist. I actually don't mind the dentist, but, right? Like the dentists have convinced you to go in and see one of the most hated people. That's why, suicide rates are really high for dentists because everybody hates them. It's a lot of energy, again, projected at them. Do I personally hate my dentist? No, not at all, right? Like perfectly lovely gentleman. It's fine, you probably wouldn't mind going out to dinner with your dentist, but you hate the dentist, right? That is projected at them all the time. So they're picking up on that consciously and subconsciously. And that is hard to handle. The body has a hard time handling that. Kind of goes back to our earlier conversation about emotions in the tail and projecting things on our animals. Truly it would be a whole different world. It would be a whole different world because you only get. Hell, you lose a tooth, they can put in a new tooth these days, right? You screw up your nervous system, where are you going to get a new nerve? Just saying. Anything else tonight? I've been rambling on a lot. Everybody, questions answered. Anything else? Any good Christmas stories, New Year's stories, holiday stories? Did our pets make it through? How stressed were our pets because you were stressed? All right. Let's see. Anything else? Talked a lot about energy. I do like talking about that, if you couldn't tell. And we'll kind of wrap it up back to raw. It's part of why I gravitated 10 years ago to feeding raw. I don't even know if I consciously thought, oh, this is what I probably knew it was species appropriate. I don't know. I don't even know if I looked at it, but it was alive, right? It was living. It wasn't cooked. It wasn't dead. It had an energy to it, had a different energy to it. And what if that's also an aspect of it? Right? Something that's not processed to smithereens. That has more energy to it. It has more life to it. And you get to contribute that to your animals. You get to contribute that to yourself. Right? The less processed anything for anybody is better. Oh, good. Nice. And Kyle says he had a quiet holiday. Ours is really quiet too. I find them, okay, I am a bit of a Grinch, Scrooge, whatever term you want to use when it comes to the holidays. But I find them mostly just, they interrupt everything. So, how long do you let a dog chew on a raw, meaty knuckle bone? She always wants the specifics here. Like time wise, because you're worried about teeth and jaw, or when does it go bad, or I usually don't get any more than 45 minutes out of one. Depends on what kind of chewer you have, how ferocious of a chewer you have. My poodle actually can gnaw down a knuckle bone faster than my Doberman. And like I said, rock hard poops. Oh, from the bone, from the meaty knuckle bone. Oh yeah. I believe that. After the bone. Yeah. Oh yeah, you get rock hard poops after the bone. Mm-hmm. So you can always preempt that. If you have a plan on doing a meaty knuckle bone and you know they're going to scrape off some of the bone, yeah, about 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 to 45 minutes. God, I wish it was like 90, but I think I've admitted this before. We don't do a lot of bones because they're messy. The bigs have to be separated in their kennels. The big things my littles can't chew on. Then I have to find little things for the littles, and then I have to keep an eye on them because I don't want them. I find bones stressful. That is my personal point of view. I don't do a lot of raw meaty knuckle bones. Yes, great for the teeth if they don't break a tooth. Yeah, but can it scrape off the tartar? Absolutely. I do honestly a lot more necks, feet, crunchy, light bones. Right. And that's what I was going to get to. Thank you, Ashley, is follow it up with some tripe or, make sure you up the tripe and organs in the meal before and after. And that should moisten up those poops. So if you are new here, the way raw feeders handle poop discrepancies, and we do like to talk about poop. If it gets super hard, you have too much bone, you need to add in more tripe organ meat. If you're having runny, soupy, looser stools, you need to up the bone content. That's how we do it. We don't go to pumpkin. I'm so sick. Okay, we have pumpkin. Yeah, of course they can have pumpkin. But why add the carbs? You don't need the carbs. So first and foremost, play with organ tripe and bone content. Okay. So like this, when I do put a neck in, let's say breakfast, I up the tripe and I actually up the amount of the soft muscle meat, like all the not compact. That's not the word I want, but the actual food. Like, so normally my Doberman gets 11 ounces and 11 ounces. If he gets a neck, I add it into the total, but he'll get 13 ounces. So he's going to get a little more muscle meat, a little more tripe to help move that bone along. The duck neck, chicken necks he'll swallow whole, so we don't do that. But duck necks are a nice size. Turkey necks are just ginormous. It's amazing how big a turkey neck is, honestly. And that could just be a whole meal too. And then that evening you'd want to up the tripe and organ meat, and you'll have to figure it out for your animal. Maybe you need to do the more organ and tripe meal before the bone, like maybe that dinner if they're going to get the turkey bone, the turkey neck, uncooked turkey neck in the morning. Play with it. But I do support the additional bone with more muscle meat, more tripe, more of God, what's the word I want for that? Like the mush, right? Because we do want to, it's like a bolus of food, right? So I put more of that with the bone. And so, yeah, you might want to do meaty. You just have to play with it. But to move the bone along and to help soften everything, you might want to do maybe a little bit of, even just a little bit of tripe right after. Just play with it. You do not need to run the pumpkin. Drives me bonkers. But you're also talking to pretty hardcore ketogenic carnivore with my animals and myself. We do very little veg. I know there's different schools out there that they need 20-30% veg. I really don't mix veg and fruit together. I do one or the other, and I try to do one kind. The fall, and I also try to do seasonal. So they get more fruit in the summer, if they get any fruit. They get squash in the fall. No pumpkin. Yeah, no pumpkin. You know, everybody runs to pumpkin, and it just drives me bonkers. Especially for already feeding a high carbohydrate processed kibble, and then they add more pumpkin. I'm like, oh, the amount of carbohydrates is insane at that point. It's not a big deal if you're a raw feeder and you want to add some pumpkin here and there. If your dog likes pumpkin, it's not a big deal. It's just not my thing. And actually, I have a can, and I may open it up here and there. I may get a wild hair, but that's just kind of where I land. And you have to figure out where you land with your animals and what they like. That's the other joys of raw feeding. There's guidelines, right? There's no hardcore rules. One of mine is rotate. Oh, and rotate again. Everything. Supplements, food, protein sources, fruits, vegetables. Okie dokie, folks. Any last minute thoughts, questions, concerns? This is fun. Happy 2023. What will you create it as? Again, that damn energy stuff. That weird ass energy stuff. And what would you like to change with your animals? What would you like to choose with your animals? Whole brand new year. And have fun with that, Jessica. Play with the little training game Ashley put up there. I lost it now. But play with your energy. Come up with a fun game, just the two of you. Why not? Yes, and of course you have to report next week. Report back next week about your second chiropractic appointment. Awesome sauce. Ashley started playing with the Healy. Oh yeah, we haven't even gotten into Healy and energy and stuff. And that's where I really love the homeopathics and the flower essence. All of that works on energetics more than anything else, and shifting and changing all that. All right, my dear friends. Great to be back on Tuesday nights. Yep, I don't see any interruptions in our future. I might have to get Neely back on here, though, because, well, she's just fun. All right, my dear friends. I will see you next Tuesday back here, Dr. Andi's World on YouTube. Invite your friends. And we'll go from there. The Raw Dog Food Truth Podcast. See, Dee Dee messes up my stuff. I mess up her stuff. It's equal. Is always on Monday mornings. Keisha, where does it? It's on quite a few platforms. What's the platform I'm thinking of? But you can find that. You can go to their website, rawdogfoodandco.com. And you can listen to all the podcasts and Neely's and Dr. J6, and the information is tremendous on that website. My email list can be found at animalmagiccare.com. It'll ask you if you want to opt in. Please do. Spotify. Is it Spotify? It's on a few platforms. She does a lot of work on that. And then if you're in the Denver area and in need of a chiropractic adjustment, I'm here. Oh, I think I got it all. Maybe. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful week. I will see you next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Until then, how much fun can you have with your animals?